We have CADL with positive data today. I thought it was a short because typically injecting into the tumor, directly into the tumor, is kind of just something that doesn't work. But I mean, this data looks good. It's hard to, there's a couple little things to quibble about, but in general, the data looks pretty good. I'm glad I didn't do a deep dive into it.
So there's a strong mechanistic rationale for this combination in prostate cancer. Next slide.
Yeah, I only lost $8,000 on this one. Thank God I didn't have a big position. I didn't have any calls, just had some puts and some common short, which I covered. I think it's probably a long. ANAB is out.
And this procedure is actually simple and well tolerated and aligned with normal clinical practice. The whole procedure takes about 15 to 20 minutes.
If you're short CADL, I would definitely get out. You can use the pre-market button to get out. Fill outside RTH.
Next slide, please.
No human use yet.
And the p-value is highly statistically significant at 0.046.
2 zeros.
Next slide, please.
Are on this journey together, moving towards the future.
Takes time to change the paradigm.
We are ready to take some questions, and I'm going to hand over to the operator.
Thank you.
Q426.
To ask a question, please press star 11
Not kidding.
on
2
your telephone and wait
years.
for your name to be announced.
What takes so long to file BLA on one trial? I mean, pretty good data. You know, it's a little weird. These really long-term prostate cancer studies do. I don't think so. I saw people on Twitter kind of can't believe it. No, I had I don't even know how much shares I had, but maybe 1,000 shares short, so almost nothing. I lost 8K, not a lot of money. I'd been focusing on the other ones quite a lot more. I have some puts as well that are going to be worthless, but yeah, I was always skeptical of like this kind of approach. What Dubs is saying with the Amgen drug is true. It's very hard to like stab a tumor and hope that something happens. And this is like this really weird so-called abscopal effect where injecting the tumor now has some impact years from now. So that's typically not the case. But immunotherapy can be a little mysterious. I could see people being skeptical about it, and without overall survival even a trend in the right direction, I think that's a little worrisome. Usually studies like this are a little bigger as well. No, there are some intratumoral. Intratumoral has tried so many times and it just generally doesn't work. So it's very surprising that this worked, but like I said, I had not taken lots of questions on this one. I just kind of put it on my screen, shorted a little bit because my heuristics are like this. Heuristics kind of were alarming. I hope nobody got some huge position in this or something like that, just because I had it on my screen here. It may not be approvable because of the overall survival thing, but I mean, the Kaplan-Meier curves separate. The p-value is a little sketchy. 0.015, I think. It should be a little better than that, but a good chunk of the Kaplan-Meier curve is overlapping and then it separates. Yeah, again, not sure it's a long, but I don't know if I'd be short it. I just heard of CADL for the first time like a week ago. And I'd barely done any work on it. I'm not long, but I'd probably rather, if I had to be, long versus short. It's still a tough call. You don't have to make every call. Like, I'd just rather maybe not be involved in this, but technically met the primary endpoint. They still might say the totality of the data doesn't support approval. But if you do meet the primary endpoint, it is usually a good thing. It's not even 2 years from now, it's 3 years from now. I don't know what company takes 2 years to file a BLA. My guess is they have to do some kind of manufacturing update, because putting the data together for one clinical trial, I mean, people file BLAs that have many clinical trials in them. I wouldn't be nervous, Paul. That's funny that they didn't want to spend money on it. Well, they'll do a financing today and they'll have plenty of capital. The real question on these things is, do the big guys believe it? Does Fidelity, does Wellington, does T. Rowe, do those guys believe it? And I generally think the answer there is going to be no. I don't know what to do on it, honestly. You know, the last time there was something like this, Dendreon was the company. They did get FDA approval, but it took years and it was very controversial. So CADL might be something like that, where it's just like, data is good. Is it good enough? Oh, yeah, I can't believe Rigetti's at $8. I shorted the Rigetti 7.5 calls. No, there was nothing in that DJT dip. I covered a bunch. I think there is a HUMA presentation. NTAP is a weird thing. I'm not sure it matters that much what they say to NTAP. FDA approval is the question. Reimbursement, I mean, nobody's going to use this product anyway. It's not a tough day for me. I hope it's not a tough day for anyone else, though. It's very hard when you look at a new stock and you have this feeling, oh, this could be a short, and then people want to follow you in. But I would just be cautious and careful until you hear me talk about something over and over and over again. No, working capital and shareholders' equity are two very different things. Shareholders' equity is kind of this fake thing. It's just assets minus liabilities. Really, Bob? Just that one? You didn't do HUMA or the other ones? Because there were like 6. Why just that one? There are like 6 of these. One of them I said I'm really big in. No, I mean, I still thought Candel was a short. I'm going to be clear here. I was short, and I was wrong. I wrote in Godel which one I'm big in. And I'm still trying to put my position on. I am short IonQ and Rigetti. I think the quantum bubble is about to burst.
Order partially filled.
We got multiple brokers. Were you all in on CADL, but not SLS or GALT or AVXL or HUMA or any of the other? Why all in on that one?
Order partially filled.
Yeah, the Google announcement was very contrived and not that important, because the way they do... What do you want? I swear to God, this cat just wants to play. Yeah, the Willow announcement is... I am still long Palantir. Maybe, we don't know yet, Q-tip. Usually the FDA doesn't take 12 months to decide a approval, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't insult anybody here, because I'm not insulting you. But if you want me to insult you, I can. Because I go ham. I go hard in the paint. I mean, GALT is... Yeah, I don't know what to say about GALT. Like I said, for some of these, I'm still putting my position on. Yeah, Mislav is right, but the question is, when do people stop caring? Yeah, I still think HUMA is a short. I don't see the FDA approving it, but I could be wrong. Yeah, FDA does approve trash now and then. Yeah, I think that's... I said no, I didn't say 95% chance of CRL. I think the last time I put a number on it, I think I said it was 75-25. HUMA's God knows when. Whenever the FDA decides. Numora, I said 50-50. Yeah, I'm 75-25. I don't know, Q-tip, what's your percentage? I don't think everybody did, Susan, but I put it on the bottom of my screen and I said all these stocks are shorts. I barely looked into Candel though. Oh wow, big. So we're completely opposed. 85-15 versus 75-25. Yeah, the best predictor win. I don't know Q-tip personally, no. There you go. JJ Dubs has me recorded better than me. Can Cassava pull an Amlag? No, Sava's done. I mean, I think the Candel trial results are fairly good. They can give you a CRL at any time. Look at Candel Therapeutics. The Google chip is circuit sampling, and I think circuit sampling is kind of pretty contrived. It's not really a real... Yeah, D-Wave's kind of even worse from a technology perspective. IonQ is down. That's not good for Rigetti. Rigetti is just up on nothing. I covered like half the DJT on the spike down. Quantum reality is coming. I am not short Candel. I covered. I lost 8,000 big ones, which I hope for the rest of you guys, similar loss, like 1% of your portfolio, not 10 or 20 or 30 or something like that. You never heard of that term, expression, big ones? I think I'll move to Soho at some point. I like Soho. I can't live in the Southern District of New York due to federal circumstances.
Order filled.
Yes, they can force you to live in a district that you're literally on probation in that district, if that makes sense. I'm shorting quantum computing stuff, and I'm building a big short in a biotech. Quantum just isn't there yet. It's going to take a long time. We don't know who the winners and losers are going to be. It's really early days in quantum. It's like not even the first inning. And you have to understand that quantum's only going to be useful for certain applications. It's going to kind of be like When GPUs first started, they were only useful for video games. We used to even have sound cards, believe it or not, that just did audio processing.
Order partially filled.
They were separate from the rest of the computer. So like, we don't actually know, like your quantum computer is never going to run Windows or something like that. It's going to be used for specialized scientific computing or encryption or something like that. But they're really theoretical devices at the moment. And I love quantum computing. The science fascinates me. I studied it quite a lot. I enjoy it. It's not really clear when and where these things will actually be useful in making
Order
money.
partially filled.
And the big pump
Order
recently
filled.
is due to the Google kind of paying some attention or lending some attention to the space, which is always good. New investors come in and learn this is a big space, it's interesting. But those investors are going to be disappointed when there's no real progress. Companies have been around a long time, Rigetti and IonQ. They couldn't go public through normal means. They had to go public through SPACs. And, it'll be a really long time for a lot of revenue. IonQ is executing fairly well, actually. But it's still not clear if they're going to keep growing because there's just not, the same interest in. There may be this like exploratory experimental interest that doesn't translate to like real industrial interest. I don't think AI will. Well, AI can reshape the healthcare, but not pharmaceutical sector. There's a lot of hype as well. Did somebody say Internet of Things?
Big data, machine learning, blockchain, artificial intelligence, digital manufacturing, big data analysis, quantum communication, and Internet of Things के R&D को बढ़ावा.
Big data, machine learning, TensorFlow, PyTorch. Uncle Modi, that's Unk. Call him Unk. Hey, yo, Unk. Okay, so this is called Artiva. $300 million market cap, $220 in cash. We looked at it briefly. This is the guys with the natural killer cells. Wow, IonQ and Rigetti now starting to fall nicely. Starting to fall nicely for your boy. Yeah, you might want to look into Godel, where I look at stocks
Order filled.
for free to all subscribers. So, Obsu, that's up to you. But right now I'm looking at Artiva. Let me put it on the screen. If you subscribe to Godel, you do get locked in for life. We are going to have price increases. You already know your boy price increases. I don't keep prices low. So if you subscribe now, you lock in for life. But we're going to stop doing that at some point pretty soon here. Godel is a alternative to the Bloomberg terminal. Okay, so these guys literally just went public. Summerfulam, Filament A Technologies. Godel's at least right now 95% cheaper than Bloomberg, so that's a start. You don't have to like do the abstruse login process when you log into Godel. You can log in from the web, so you're able to log in from anywhere. There's no 2-year contract. You could cancel at any time. A lot of people hate Bloomberg for a lot of those reasons. 2-year contract's really annoying. The huge price is really annoying if you don't use it that much. You can't sign up for it very easily. You got to go interview and talk to them like it's some special thing. It's just fast access SEC filings. It's a little more than that, but you get my point. Godel is brand new. We haven't even promoted it yet. Only people that know about it are my live stream viewers. I don't know, Mike. We all want to know why Huma hasn't received approval yet. Everybody wants to know.
The ATEV is a first of its kind bioengineered implantable blood vessel.
FDA action expected prior to May 1st. Is
Next
this going to drop on this? It would have
So
to,
ATEV
right?
is truly
Yeah, but why put that on
a
the...
degradable polymer scaffold that's
Why
40
put that on
centimeters
there?
long and since of the ATEV.
Ah, that's the
The
NTAP
cells
cutoff.
attach
That makes sense.
and then they grow.
I had a question about the status of the FDA review of the application, the BLA application.
Yes, the BLA remains under review, as we've stated in our quarterly earnings calls and other public announcements. trauma surgeons focus more on secondary patency.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from CMS or the public?
Yeah, can I get Adina's phone number, yo?
I have no questions in the Q&A
What's your email, girl?
and no new questions in the new tech mailbox.
I don't know what we can take from that, if anything. No new information. I don't have that number in front of me. What was your biggest trading loss this year? I don't have that number in front of me, but people would ask each other what their names were from in jail, and guys would have like whole monologues prepared. The whole monologue, like it's a rap song. It's Johnny K from around the way, you heard? Yeah, say hello to the bad guy, I'm that dude. I'm Himothy, Johnny K, that's what they call me in Brooklyn. Word. Okay, and that's for all that. That was a whole presentation. Sweet cream butterscotch. No, I'm not gonna get a SLS. Yeah, that college football skip is the best. Okay, non-genetically modified, cryopreserved NK cell therapy. So if they don't modify it, it's just somebody else's NK cells? What? I agree with that. When I asked her about the BLA, she was like, still under review. But really no actual difference there. Yes, New York Islanders. I think the May thing was related to the meeting, like they had to be by May. Minimum I'd say would be 25K, closer to 50. But the valuation doesn't change based on how much you invest. Whether you invest $1 million or 25K, the valuation does not change. All the same valuation. 23andMe. Yeah, I looked at 23andMe as a bit of a dog. But I will look. I'm still looking at Artiva. And I got to jump on a VC call very shortly, actually. I don't really think most people talk about that. We raised the $2 million at a very modest valuation. And our valuation now is also, I think, fairly modest. Terms not disclosed. That's a little bizarre. That is really bizarre. How could they not disclose the terms? 558? No, we already knew that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is... Oh, I see. Yeah, that wasn't new. That's not new. The in-test thing is not new. We knew that last week. We don't scrape news. We have API agreements with news providers. The problem with this study design is it's not going to tell you anything because it's not controlled. And the monotherapy rituximab does have an effect already in lupus. I don't know what you get out of this. To me, it's like just going to set you up for bad data. The holders of Rigetti are people who just bought it from 1 to 7. They're bag holding. If it doesn't go up, it's going to keep going down. It's like a second derivative thing. There's no way people want to hold Rigetti for the long haul. It's like
𝗏𝗏𝗃.
most altruism is actually very selfish. We don't have brokerage support yet, but we will allow you to connect your brokerage soon. I don't think we're going to do trading view charts. They're kind of a competitor. We have another chart upgrade planned. I mean, we can kind of mimic what they do. As they've even said, most people imitate us. But they don't have a very friendly API. SLS drug has been tried before. Yeah, we could do something like that, Ches, for sure. Rigetti will get out of breath soon here. I mean, longs have to give up. The momentum's gone. You might have to wait a few days. But without momentum, stock like Rigetti is going to just drop. I'm not sure on Candel. I thought the data was okay, but I think the bigger problem is they have this like 2 years to file a BLA because probably didn't do any manufacturing work. And especially a drug like the one they have, doing tons of manufacturing validation and stuff like that, it's really difficult. It actually usually involves doing another trial, which would really make their life. So I don't know what's going to happen to them, but it's kind of no man's land. I mean, the drug appears to work, which is a big deal. Eventually, that could be a good long. No, they're not going to kill Pluvicto. Yeah, waiting 3 years for FDA approval is a little tricky. It's funny, the CEO was DMing me last night. It's very bizarre. Just sitting here market making. DJT. This is the guy who's dissing me on LinkedIn. Says he's a private real estate focused on the management of vacation rental properties. This is the cringiest resume I've seen in a long time. This guy's like 100 years old. Pharma sales reps. When I was in high school, he worked at Robbie Stevens, worked at a San Francisco hedge fund, private equity thing. Didn't look like it worked out. Spent 5 years doing God knows what. Then did a real estate thing. Spent a year doing God knows what. Then did a real estate startup. Sure that did not work. Then he tried private equity again, this time as a wagey. This is a part-time directorship. Then for the last 25 years, allegedly, he's been selling this lounge, Tahoe Luxury Properties. Should we rent it? Nothing in this resume strikes me out as too impressive. He says he's retired, and he goes, too bad you're not. See, what I'm trying to understand here with this company, Artiva, I hope you guys don't mind me sometimes thinking too hard here, but here's what's going on with Artiva, okay? They want to give Rituxan. I hope you guys pay attention, and I want you to think about this with me, and I want to see if you get it right, okay? So a little quiz here, okay? So they want to give Rituxan plus their NK cells. Let's make this here NK. All right, in lupus patients. And at the end of the trial, this is basically the trial. This is it. There's no control group. There's no whatever. This is all we got. So let's say this is, I don't know, 25 people. All right. Rituxan is known to work in lupus. But the NK cells are not known to work. That's what their whole company is, making the NK cells, right? We don't know if the NK cells work. We know Rituxan works in autoimmune diseases. Okay? Yeah, I'm short IonQ. I was short CADL. I covered at 12. Anyway. So Rituxan works for lupus. NK cells, we don't know if they work or not. This is the whole company is making NK cells. It's called Artiva. RV. Yeah, and the hope is that it's quote unquote synergistic, but forget about that for a second and just say to yourself, what do the results, let's say the results are, okay, results come out 6 months later and we won't even look at like scales or anything. We'll just call it, the data was good. Patients did good. Because this is against baseline, right? The only thing you could say is, okay, I treated people, I don't know, in December or whatever baseline is. It's different for each patient, but let's say the last patient's in December. And then 6 months later in July, I looked at the patients and they were better than before. Whatever their disease was, let's say it started up here, it dropped a little bit to over here. Now, what's the problem with this data? And this is like fundamental to understanding biotech. So I actually think they would have to do a Rituxan only, right? Because you cannot tell with this data
Order-filled.
where the efficacy, if it exists at all, is coming from. The only thing you can tell is that the combination seemed to improve people from baseline, which doesn't mean anything. We learned that from Cassava. You need a control of some kind. But the harder thing here is the best control is treatment, standard treatment now. So let's say it's Rituxan. So if you want to approve Rituxan plus NK, you got to show that that's better than Rituxan alone. CD20s don't work great, by the way, for lupus, but the reason you would do this is, let's say I did a study of Martin's Magic M&Ms. That's an M&M, peanut M&Ms I got, and I said, I want to take Rituxan and Martin's Magic M&Ms, the MMM regimen. It's been studied in many medical schools. And I wanted to say, yeah, it's infused with galaxy gas as well, the GG regimen. And if Rituxan is known to work already, I'm going to be able to say, well, the results are pretty good. Like 25 patients, it did a lot better. This is the first trial, so you start small. That's normal. And look, the patients got better from baseline. This is the month 0, this is month 6, it's better. Well, obviously, I can't claim it was Martin's magic M&Ms, which don't do anything medically. I hate to say it, it's true. Maybe Joe Springer would think they did something. But it's the Rituxan probably doing it. So if you look at this data, how do we know if it's Rituxan or if it's the NK cells? And if you want to prove it, you have to compare it to Rituxan alone and say, okay, well, in N equals, say, 100 patients with Rituxan plus NK, they did great. And in N equals 100 with just Rituxan, they did okay. And you do a p-value, you do a statistical test, usually a t-test of some kind, and that's it. That's how you do a clinical trial. And this way you could tell which is which. But without this design, you're really just guessing. Yeah, I mean, theoretically you would want all three, but their hypothesis is that Rituxan is boosted by their NK cells. You don't need the NK cells alone. I don't think that's going to help you too much. Well, I wish I got this CADL right, and I hope nobody lost money. I'm not sure if myostatin is worth the hype. No, there are single-arm studies that could be useful. I am still short DJT. Exactly, Jojo. Unless it's massively huge, like they're cured of their lupus. Even then, you still would be a little bit like, well, I'd want to know. It's not going to be useless data, but it's close to useless.